In this video, let's take a closer look at Fiona, one of the most beloved characters from the Shrek movies, and explore her backstory in a way that really highlights how her life shaped who she is. Fiona was born in the magical kingdom of Far, Far Away, which sounds like a fairy tale dream come true. She was the only child of King Harold and Queen Lillian. Growing up, she had the kind of life that most kids can only dream about. She was a princess with all the luxuries you can imagine. Everything seemed perfect on the surface, but Fiona's life took a wild turn because of a witch's curse that changed everything for her and set her on a very different path. Now, this wasn't your typical fairy tale curse. It wasn't just a matter of turning her into a frog or something simple like that. The curse was quite unusual. During the day, Fiona looked like a beautiful human princess, but when night fell, she transformed into an ogre. Can you imagine living every day like that? One minute you're this graceful royal, and the next, you're an ogre hiding in your own castle. To break this curse, Fiona needed a true love's kiss, which would reveal her true form. This is such a classic fairy tale element that adds a bit of pressure to her situation because it means she's not just searching for love. She's on a quest to find someone who can truly see her for who she really is. The situation was tough for Fiona and also for her parents. They loved her deeply, but they were in a bit of a bind themselves. On one hand, they wanted to protect their daughter from the world and the pain that comes with being an ogre. On the other hand, they were also very concerned about how the kingdom was perceived. After all, a princess who turns into an ogre at night doesn't exactly fit the fairy tale image they wanted to project. So instead of being completely honest with Fiona and finding a way to help her face her challenges, they chose to hide her transformation. By day, she was treated like a typical princess, albeit one who had to be careful at night when she became an ogre. She would be locked away in her room, kept behind closed doors, all in the name of keeping up appearances. In this part of the story, we meet the fairy godmother, who plays a big role in Fiona's life. Fiona's parents, feeling desperate and worried about their daughter's curse, decided to reach out to this powerful sorceress for help. They thought she might have the answer to their problems since she's known for working magic. However, the solution the fairy godmother offered wasn't exactly what you'd call ideal. Instead of a straightforward fix, she suggested that they lock Fiona away in the highest room of the tallest tower, guarded by a fierce dragon. The idea was that Fiona would be saved by her so-called true love, just like in the stories. But here's where things get really interesting. The fairy godmother had her own motives. The true love destined to rescue Fiona wasn't just any prince. It was none other than Prince Charming, who happened to be her own son. It seems like the fairy godmother had her own dreams for the future where Prince Charming would marry Princess Fiona, and in doing so, he would become a king. There's even speculation that she might have been the one who cast the spell on Fiona in the first place, wanting to create this fairy tale ending for her son. It's clear she had a pretty elaborate plan in mind, but that plan didn't really focus on what Fiona actually wanted. Now, back to Fiona. For years, she found herself trapped in that tower, waiting for someone to come and rescue her. Unfortunately, every attempt at rescue was thwarted by the ferocious dragon guarding her. This left Fiona alone, and as time passed, she clung to the dreams of the fairy tale she had been told. She imagined her prince would come and lead her to her happily ever after, just like in the stories. But the truth is that no prince came for her, at least not the one she expected. Then, everything changed when Shrek, an ogre, stumbled upon her tower and became the first one to actually rescue her. Fiona's first encounter with Shrek was a real eye-opener. He completely shattered her expectations in a way she never saw coming.
You're an ogre.
Oh, you were expecting Prince Charming.
With his ogre looks and no interest in following the fairy tale rules, Shrek was the exact opposite of what she envisioned a prince should be. Fiona had grown up with all these formal ideas of courtly manners, and she had been raised with a strong belief in the proper way to be rescued, complete with a rigid view of romance. As she spent more time with Shrek, she began to let go of her princess facade and started showing her true self. Beneath that royal exterior, Fiona is actually bold, funny, and very down to earth. You might be surprised to know she's also a pro at martial arts. This is a huge departure from the typical image of a princess who just waits to be rescued. Honestly, Fiona could have easily rescued herself from that tower if she wanted to. She is definitely not a damsel in distress. What makes her even more interesting is how similar she is to Shrek in many ways. They both have their own unique quirks and personalities. Fiona's fiery spirit complements Shrek's gruff demeanor perfectly. As they spend more time together, their bond grows stronger, and they discover that they're not so different after all. They share laughs and adventures, which deepens their connection and helps them understand each other on a whole new level. This is the moment when their love story really begins, and it's the kind of love that has its ups and downs, just like any real relationship. Fiona doesn't just love Shrek for who he is, she also helps him learn to love himself. Throughout their journey, she encourages him to embrace his true nature and not to be ashamed of who he is.